SEC. Expect the unexpected. The Longhorns know you can't look ahead.
Keep the focus on the task at hand.
Kentucky eyes another upset.
Attack, attack, attack.
Stay locked in.
Touchdown, Texas. Jumps on top. They've been hooking them all day long. Can Kentucky expect the unexpected today? Katie is with Coach Sarkisian.
Thanks, Tess. Steve, you told us yesterday this Kentucky team is much better than their record. What stands out to you?
Well, they're an excellent defensive football team, one of the best in our conference. And they limit the explosive plays, and they keep the game close. And we got to make sure they don't run the ball and shrink the game on us.
It was an emotional Senior Day celebration pregame. There's been some talk about next week. How do you ensure your guys stay in the moment?
You know, I was watching the fights in practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. I felt pretty good about what we were focused on this week.
I love it. Good luck.
Thanks, Katie.
Hey, some intensities as they're fighting in practice this week. All right, let's get to this matchup a little deeper. Obviously, he said Kentucky has to shrink this game.
Yeah.
But that offense for Kentucky has to do it against arguably the best defense in the country.
Statistically, they are the best, and they've got difference makers at all three levels. There are no weaknesses on this Texas defense. It's not just Anthony Hill at linebacker. Alfred Collins has been a beast the last 5 games. 6'5", 320 against Arkansas. Recognizes the double team, takes a stem outside to buy some space to split that double team and get to the quarterback for a sack. Colin Simmons is the next great pass rusher at Texas. A true freshman, has so much speed off the edge. He can get there in 2.5 seconds. He leads the nation amongst freshmen for sacks. And then Jahdae Barron has been the best corner for Texas all season long. Here covering a curl route against Arkansas. In zone coverage, does such a good job keeping his eyes on the quarterback so he can break on the ball before the receiver, essentially running the route for that wide out. Because they have so many guys playing at such a high level, Joe, in all 3 levels, that's why they lead the nation, giving up just 249 total yards a game.
Our Bud Light Spotlight, you see the impressive numbers and only 3.9 yards per play. Texas defense on an absolutely magnificent day here in Austin.
A clear blue skies, feels like it's in the 70s. Tailor-made for some SEC football here in November.
Only the second time these teams have ever met. Got to go back to 1951 when Bear Bryant was coaching Kentucky for the first meeting. As Kentucky has won the toss and they elect to defer. '100th anniversary of this magnificent stadium, Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial. And there is the most tenured head coach in the SEC. 12 years in for Mark Stoops at Kentucky, the most wins at Kentucky.
It's amazing, Joe. I used to play against Kentucky, obviously, in the late 90s at Florida, and to see where the program is now versus where it was back then, leaps and bounds, and so much of that because of that man right there, Mark Stoops.
When Ewers moments away from getting back out there in this home field, when he was on this turf in Florida against Florida 2 weeks ago, he recorded a career-high 5 touchdown passes. Coach Sark, you heard that exchange with Katie, of course. Next week is A&M, the rivalry renewed with the SEC championship on the line, but there is business to take care of against this Kentucky team that he has great respect for, especially now that they're getting back to full health defensively and knowing what they did earlier this season against Georgia and the win at Ole Miss. And now for this Kentucky program climbing this mountain of a road game at number 3 Texas. The South African kickoff specialist to get our day started. A day that has already seen an SEC thriller with Ole Miss being taken down by Florida. And now can Kentucky play that small ball, shrink the game, and contend with Texas? sellout here at DKR as Matthew Golden is deep to return. Golden, who's been excellent in recent weeks. 8 touchdown catches is tied for the SEC lead. A dynamic playmaker for the number 3 Longhorns, trying to keep their course to an SEC championship game. Jesse, Quinn Ewers, you start to put things into perspective now when it comes to the career that he's had here. 5th in passing yards in Longhorns history. 58 touchdown passes, and then the stretch he's been on with 21 straight games throwing a touchdown.
Well, he was the #1 quarterback recruit coming out of high school during his time here at Texas. He sure does look the part. I've been really impressed with him the last couple of weeks, Joe, with decision making. Taking what the defense gives him, that has to continue against this good Kentucky defense that's really good at disguising.
Play action to get the game going. A little bit of traffic in his face, and a tackle for loss to open up the game as Alex Afari was quickly in there.
And that's a nice job there. Under duress, just finding the outlet. And this is a Kentucky defense that is going to try to heat Quinn Ewers up early in this one. They want to blitz him. They want to try and hit him and see if they can affect his rhythm.
2nd and 15. We'll keep it on the ground with Wisner, and Wisner is ridden down. And that was Pop Dumas Johnson, impact players built by the Home Depot.
There's a lot of weapons, certainly, when you talk about Texas's offense, no doubt. A lot of guys very dangerous with the ball. Quintravious Wisner, excellent running the ball and catching it. Matthew Golden, 4 touchdowns in his last 2 games. Deion Walker, Katie talked about in the open. He's a dominant player when healthy. And Pop Dumas Johnson, the transfer from Georgia, missed their last game against Murray State. His physicality plays a big role in this Kentucky defense.
And immediately, this Kentucky defense forcing a 3rd and 11. Ewers on 3rd down. And he gets it complete to Golden, who turns the corner, and it's a 1st down Texas.
And a great job anticipating by Quinn Ewers that time. Matthew Golden up top is going to be running a curl route here, but watch how early this ball is thrown by Quinn Ewers. On time, a hitch, throws it before his receiver turns around and to the outside, protecting the throw. Beautiful job.
19-yard reception by Golden. Ewers gets this complete. Again, it's Golden. Katie.
Yeah, Tess, worth mentioning Isaiah Bond. He injured his ankle in Red River against OU. They've been managing it ever since, but Steve Sarkisian said his ankle is still causing him problems, so he'll be limited in what they try to do with him today. DeAndre Moore is also banged up. He's going to try to push through today, but the Texas wide receiver room is a little bit thin.
And those are 2 big-time talented guys in Moore and Bond. Wisner, the 1st down run, as all of a sudden Texas starts finding a rhythm.
Yeah, it's important for Kentucky's defense here to play with great eye discipline in this one, Joe. Steve Sarkisian loves to use motion, and he pulls guys, and he gets guys flying across the ball, and it's easy to lose where the football is, and that's when the ball gets run by you or gets thrown over your head. So you can't bite on all the eye candy if you're Kentucky. You have to stay disciplined on defense.
There's the misdirection, and Wisner takes it ahead for a 1st down to the 31-yard line, tackled by Ty Bryant.
And that's a perfect example of that right there, because you've got one guy here in motion, and then he's going to come around on a reverse, but you're also pulling guys backside, and as a defense, you're just trying to locate where the football is. It's difficult to find it at times, and they do this in the run game, and they do it in the pass game.
First down, Ewers again going to Golden. Golden breaks free. Golden's inside the 15-yard line. Katie told us about who's not at 100%, but clearly Golden's ready to pick it up.
Well, Matthew Golden already his 3rd catch of the game on a screen pass that time, and he was able to break a tackle from Maxwell Hairston, who led the SEC in picks a season ago. This is a nice touch pass over top of a defender by Ewers. Gets it to him early so he has space to work, making Hairston miss. Matthew Golden having a big first drive here for Hookham.
20 yards on that throw to Golden. 3 catches, 53 yards on this opening drive. Weisner, this time he is met, and he is stacked up after a gain of just a yard.
You feel, Joe, like if Kentucky's going to win this game, when the ball's down in the red zone, they have to allow field goals, not touchdowns. They've been statistically the best red zone defense in the SEC, allowing opponents to score points on only 69% of their total drives. You saw their numbers there on touchdown drives, but this is where they really have to bow up.
Ewers trying to swing it out of the backfield. Wingo gets free, and Wingo makes a nice move inside the 5 where he's met by Hairston.
Really nice job by the true freshman out in space, making someone miss. And now here they are down close to the goal line, and this is a part of the field. If you're Texas, you'd love to just be physical, get some push up front, but you got a massive challenge because this Kentucky defensive line, that's the strength of their entire team.
3rd down and 2. Can get a first down at the 1-yard line. Weisner, play action to the end zone, incomplete. He was looking for Matthew Golden. Hardaway was there with coverage.
Well, that's a ball that Quinn Ewers that time either had to hand off or he was kind of in a tough situation here because you got Golden outside running the slant. Really nice coverage by a 6'3" corner and Jonquis Hardaway. When he fakes this, you're thinking maybe he might run, but this defender there is right in place, so he's got to get rid.
It is 4th down, and the offense is staying on the field. 4th down and 2 on the opening drive. Here's Ewers on 4th down. Running out of options. To the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Gunnar Helm. Well, that's a good option. Your 6'5" star tight end.
That is a fantastic job that time by Gunnar Helm in the scramble drill, mirroring his quarterback. As soon as Quinn Ewers was flushed to the left, he started tracking that way as well. He felt the flow of the defense in the end zone, was able to stop and present an easy target. And that is an outstanding first drive by Texas.
They faced a 3rd and 11 early in it. They started working Matthew Golden, and then a 4th down conversion for a touchdown to Gunnar Helm, his 4th of the year. And Quinn Ewers has now thrown a touchdown pass in 22 straight games. Number 3 Texas off to a good start here at home.
Back to Austin, taking a look back at that touchdown by the Longhorns. You got Gunnar Helm here at tight end in the bunch. He's just running a simple spot route, trying to find a space and zone. As soon as Quinn Ewers gets flushed, Gunnar Helm mirrors him and works to the left. This is something that offenses around the country practice throughout the week. They're able to execute it on game day, and you cannot start a game any better than Texas just did here.
Kentucky is one of the most dangerous kickoff returners in college football, and Barion Brown. But he's not going to get an opportunity. So let's welcome Brock Vandagriff out onto the field. He was a huge recruit when he came out of high school to start his career at Georgia, where many thought he was the future of the program. Not how it went. Of course, got a couple rings, but he made his way here to Kentucky, where he's been dealing with some injuries all season long, some inconsistencies, and now this big test.
He's been really tough, though, and I think that's something that this offense responds to. And I think today that toughness is going to get tested. In the passing game, he's going to be under duress. They need him to be able to run the football today, I think, if Kentucky's going to win.
They'll start it with Wilcox on the ground, and look at Jamarion Wilcox. A chunk play to open things up for the Cats.
And that time they come right up the middle. They've got a linebacker overshooting the gap, and Wilcox is able to find the crease and hit it here. Just on a simple zone play, the tight end gets the seal block, and there's a massive hole for the redshirt freshman to run through.
It was a great job by Jordan Dingle, number 85, the tight end. As you mentioned, 18-yard run for Wilcox. Vandagriff pressured, and he just falls down. That was Anthony Hill who was charging in.
Well, that's Anthony Hill, and you got Jamarion Wilcox is just 5'10", 197, but you need more effort blocking right here. You got to be able to give yourself an opportunity to give your quarterback time. And the speed of one of the most versatile linebackers in the entire country, Anthony Hill, able to affect that play in the backfield.
Second and 17. Wilcox again. This time just a couple of yards as he is wrapped up.
Taking a look at the impact players. Dane Key has been the go-to guy at receiver for Kentucky. He's got to make plays. Jamarion Wilcox, you've already seen an explosive run on the first play. Alfred Collins has been a monster the last 5 games up front. And Colin Simmons, the true freshman, in situations like this on third down, he has been a force. And right now they've got him lined up on the redshirt freshman Malachi Wood to the right of Kentucky's offensive line.
There he is, number 11. Speed off the edge. 3rd and 15. Here he comes. Vandagriff. Not much happening at all as Kentucky will be punting away. Vernon Broughton able to get to Brock Vandagriff.
You know, and that's a play I think Brock Vandagriff has to try to stay in the pocket. It looked like he had some receivers downfield open to throw to. He ran that so quickly, Joe. It looked like it was a designed quarterback run, but his offensive line wasn't getting downfield to get blocks. I think that was a poor decision, leaving the pocket too early by Vandagriff.
Ross punts away as the ball just goes off to the side, into the shade, and out of bounds. Quinn Ewers back to business after a strong-looking opening drive. 7-zip horns. Jesse, there were only 4,700 fans here.
That's changed.
1951.
It looks a little bit different here in 2024.
Of course, over 100,000 here at DKR. And there's the one Kentucky fan who's right in the middle of all the burnt orange. There is a great traveling section, though, of Kentucky fans who made their way to Austin. Quinn Ewers from the shadows as he gets it quickly to Golden again. 5 targets now already for Golden. So, Jesse, Texas just had their 5th scoring drive of 5 minutes or more out of 57 scoring drives this year.
Doesn't happen often. They like to go tempo like what you're seeing right here and crank it up. But they've got so many explosive playmakers at the skill spots that they often score pretty quickly.
Ewers, quick strike off the fingertips and then falling harmlessly to the ground. And it was Golden he was targeting again.
Katie made the mention that Isaiah Bond dealing with a bit of a nagging injury, as is DeAndre Moore. So it seems like Matthew Golden right now, the transfer from Houston, he's the go-to guy, and they're trying to give him as many looks as they can. Really, to start this year was more of a possession receiver. We've seen in recent weeks, Joe, he's been making a lot of plays down the field, expecting to get some shot opportunities.
DeAndre Moore is actually in the game right now, playing the slot. This is 3rd down and 5. Ewers is going to try to run for it, and he reaches out, and a penalty flag comes down as he took the push out of bounds. That was Fearby who pushed Ewers. Yeah,
we've seen Quinn Ewers make a couple big runs. Remember that 4th down late against Arkansas where he ran over a safety last week with the game on the line? And maybe not the most fleet of foot, but Tyrese Fearbree's got to know to lay up there.
No, let's see where he is.
Result of the play is a 1st down. Sideline warning against Texas. This is their first warning of the game.
So it's going to be a sideline warning only. Fearby, you could see, made that contact while Ewers was still in the field of play. So the crowd boos when they hear that, but the bottom line is a 1st down for Texas. Jaden Blue makes the first man slip, and look at Jaden Blue. And able to keep his balance just short of midfield.
You got to stay in your gaps, especially against these outside zone schemes for Kentucky. And right here, a defender is going to try to shoot this inside, and he gets outflanked. You got to stay outside. You got to leverage the football back into all the traffic. We've seen a couple times now early Kentucky not staying in their gaps. And it's cost them in the run game.
That was Childress, that defender who shot in there. Quick strike as they go with the inside tunnel. Golden breaks free for a first down. He has been dynamic on these first 2 possessions.
And I know it's a simple throw, and people aren't going to get excited about a screen pass like that, but the location by Quinn Ewers here, putting it out in front of Golden so he can catch it and advance it. How many times in college football you see an errant throw, you got to turn around, you lose all the momentum, you lose the blocking advantage downfield? It's just a subtle example of the accuracy of Quinn Ewers.
And you can see how he's able to keep stride right upfield and thus goes for 13 yards. Blue as he puts down the shoulders and gets it to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, and we're seeing some push up front now by this very experienced Texas offensive line. They're a big unit, 6'4". They average 324 pounds across the board. It is not easy to push guys like Deion Walker, Keyshawn Silver, Trayvon Ripka, and Octavius Oxendine around. But early in this game, this group with 165 combined starts, they are establishing the line of scrimmage.
And then you see on the left side of your screen, number 78, Kelvin Banks, who's going to have a very thick bank account in the coming years. 2nd and 5. Ewers, he's going to the end zone. And it is denied by Maxwell Hairston, who's back to action. And they were looking for Isaiah Bond, who enters the game with that ankle that's not quite 100%.
Well, getting Hairston back for Kentucky was huge. He missed 5 games with a medical issue. He was probably their MVP a year ago, Joe, when he had 5 picks. A little bit of contact, no doubt, but he's able to high point and knock this thing away. Getting him back on the field was a huge win for Kentucky.
Blue, as he's wrestled down short of that line to gain by Saunders.
You know, these running backs in these zone stretch schemes are so good at finding a crease and then getting north. That time, Josiah Hayes completely cut it off before Blue got north, and now here they are in 4th and 1. And considering they already went for it earlier in the game, it wouldn't be shocking here if Sark decided to do it again.
There has been absolutely no hesitation in recent weeks. We had a long conversation with Sark yesterday about always having that feel. Here's 4th down and 1. Ewers, play action on 4th and 1, drifting back, and it's incomplete. Well defensed all the way around. Fairby was there defensively, and a turnover on downs, Kentucky.
Great play by Alex Afari at linebacker that time. They were trying to sneak a screen into Jaden Blue. He did not bite on all the eye candy. Beautiful job here. He's going to get this thing covered, and there's absolutely nowhere for Quinn Ewers to go with the football. A big turnover on downs for Kentucky here early. We're going to have a good one here in Austin, Texas.
TNT connected Cam after the turnover on downs. Kentucky defense did their job, and now that offense that only's had 4 plays so far, trying to find something as Brown looks to wiggle his way for extra yardage. Kevin Nagandi in the studio. What say you?
Yes, good afternoon. We're watching a game in the Big Ten. Number 4 Penn State trailing Minnesota early here, Boog.
Yeah, I love the fact early on, look at Minnesota, look at the physicality at the line of scrimmage, Kev. Up the middle, Penn State, it's early.
Marcus Major to the house, 7-0 Minnesota. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Interesting happenings perhaps in the Big Ten today. 2nd and 7 for Kentucky. Vandagriff with time, and he tried to muscle the ball over the middle, as that was denied by Makuba. He was looking for Gilmore, the true freshman.
You've got to be so careful when you're throwing over the middle of the field with Makuba back there. The Clemson transfer is so good at robbing in the middle of the field. He's watching Vandagriff's eyes. He's hunting up any in-breaking route. Very lucky that that wasn't his 4th pick on the season.
Third and 7. Vandagriff steps up, and it's incomplete as he was trying to get it to Dane Key. And this Texas defense, we told you all the statistical superlatives. As a flag is down all the way at the 42-yard line, a late flag. Let's check on that.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Personal foul, number 3, defense. Personal foul, number 7, offense. Those penalties offset. 4th down.
Jalen Gilbo and Barion Brown.
Yeah, guys, just quickly, Vandagriff and Mark Stoops are having a conversation with the officials because Vandagriff came over to the sidelines and told Stoops, I can't hear anything right now. My in-helmet communication's not working.
Now, the in-helmet communication is one thing. 100,000 roaring Texas fans is another. Flag is down as LaRose punts it away. And try to get it outside the numbers, but it does cross into the end zone. Jeff Heiser heads up this officiating crew today. Texas opened up the game with that 5-minute touchdown drive. Capped it with a 4th down touchdown pass.
Illegal formation against a kicking team. That 5-yard penalty be ended the end of the kick. 1st down.
And the last 4th down they faced, Kentucky defense was able to come up with a stop, but the Kentucky offense against this excellent Texas defense just cannot find the rhythm early on.
Let's go back, Joe, and look at that first drive by Texas. And Quinn Ewers, really nice job throwing in rhythm and anticipating these throws. They were targeting Matthew Golden first on the curl route, then into the RPO game. They got him a throw out wide again, and he was able to do a lot of damage after the catch. This was the critical 4th down by the goal line. Gunnar Helm being on the same page as his quarterback, and that is how Texas took their 7-point lead. 11 plays, 75-yard. Unusual to take 5 minutes to score that TD.
Wisner straight ahead right through that Kentucky defense out past the 40.
And just watch Texas's offensive line. Cameron Williams, the right tackle, is just going to cave in everybody from the right side. Blocking here, everyone going this way. And it makes it easy for Wisner. Just find that crease and get upfield. We talk again, the physicality right now by Texas up front. That's been the difference in the run game.
17-yard run by Wisner. And this time testing the left side as a flag is down and Wisner's out to midfield. See if it stays that way.
Holding. Offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
It's a very vocal center, Jake Majors.
Well, he's a 4-year starter and a smart guy. Finalist for the William V. Campbell Trophy, which is known as the academic Heisman. He's got his hands full on this game because he's having to block Dion Walker. It's 6'6", 350 pounds. A guy that when he's healthy and playing with great effort, this dude has 1st round written all over him. A little bit banged up, maybe not 100%, but he is a load to handle.
So after the penalty, it's 1st down and 20. Ewers gets it out quickly, but right on top of it was Hairston as Bolden could not get free.
Well, you've seen Hairston now have a couple big plays. One on the knockaway post in the end zone. They were trying to hit Isaiah Bond on the post the last drive, and that time they're doing a great job closing. You've got to be careful when you're throwing against number 1. He's so good, Joe, in zone coverage at reading the route concepts, but also watching the quarterback throw the ball. He likes to jump passes, and that's why he's got 3 pick-sixes in his last 12 games played.
Missed the last 5 games with a shoulder injury. They are thrilled to have him back. Wisner on 2nd and 12, gains about 3. It'll be 3rd and long. Tackled that time by Ripka.
And this is a place where J.J. Weaver has to step up on 3rd down defense. He's their best pass rusher. Got hurt against Auburn at the end of the 1st half. Since he's been off the field, it's really hurt this defense on 3rd down. Critical down and distances like this. He leads the team with 5 sacks. He's got to be able to step up and make plays.
And there was some movement.
False start. Offense, number 5. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's Ryan Wingo, the true freshman receiver who's going to see extended playing time today with Moore and Bond not being fully healthy.
And it's these critical 3rd downs where you'd love to have Isaiah Bond at 100%. He is their most sudden route runner and really good at finding soft spots in zone coverage. So, you know, those injuries at receiver, this is a situation in the game where that could really show itself.
Ewers on 3rd and 13. He wants all of it. He was looking for Wingo. The coverage came in for Hairston, and the crowd thought that there was some contact, but it is incomplete. The Kentucky defense
There
holds.
absolutely was some contact that time by Hairston. Wingo's running the double move. You're going to see him go out and then up. Hairston does a nice job recovering, but he doesn't locate the ball. It's a little bit of an arm and a little shove there in the back. He grabs him with his right shoulder. That absolutely should have been DPI.
Kern punts away. Maclin on the return. As he turns the corner at about the 26-yard line. A reminder that coming up next right here on ABC, it is Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. Number 7, Alabama, taking on Oklahoma. Chris, Kurt, and Holly will have coverage there.
This will be fun. Obviously, Oklahoma has struggled on offense. Defensively, though, they've got difference makers and NFL talent at all 3 levels. But they're going to have their hands full here, Joe, against one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the entire country and a Heisman hopeful in Jalen Milroe. That'll be fun to watch tonight.
Of course, we've been going through all the different scenarios of what could be the SEC championship game. Alabama very much in the mix. You go through those tiebreakers. There are things that would favor Alabama. Of course, Texas understands their task. Win today. Win next week against A&M, and you're on top of the world in the SEC.
All you can ever ask for is just to be in control of your own destiny, and that's what Texas is at this moment. But they've got their hands full here early with a stubborn Kentucky team.
Kentucky defense looking pretty decent in bigger spots, but the Kentucky offense only 19 yards to this point. Sumo-Karngbaye with a tough run out to the 32. Well, we just had the conversation of how's this going to play out? The SEC championship game. These are the most likely matchups you could have.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of Texas because we mentioned if they win out, they're there. But Alabama right now, when you go down the SEC tiebreakers, that 4th tiebreaker, your conference opponents' combined win percentage against opponents in the SEC. That's the tiebreaker, and that's what gives Alabama the advantage in those scenarios you're talking about.
I feel like you're an inch away from a coin flip
That's right.
when you say that. Yeah. Sumo-Karngbaye, as he leans forward at the end for 3 yards. And it's 7-zip Texas at the end of the first quarter. The SEC on ABC, presented by Burger King, returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Third and short here. Defense can't stay on the field all day, and offense got to get some tough yards. So hopefully we can get a conversion here and move the ball a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Coach Stoops' team has 1 first down to this point. So this will start the second quarter of 3rd down and 2. And that's not going to help.
It's going to be a false start on Malachi Wood, the right tackle. Penalties for this offensive line have been killing Kentucky all season long.
And they need a clean game today if they want to stay competitive against this version of Texas.
You can't turn 3rd and short into 3rd and 6. If you're going to win this game on the road like this, you got to keep these situations manageable, and you got to play smarter.
Texas off to another good start.
Delay a game. Defense for the abrupt movement.
Oh, they're going to get him.
Correction. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, that's a first down for Kentucky because they're going to get him for the movement that forced the movement on the other side. But this is what we were detailing in terms of Texas fast starts this year. Look at those first quarter stats. Texas has now outscored opponents 101-17 in the first quarter of games this season.
And we talked about it, having to win ugly like they did against Ole Miss. You got to run the ball and stay on the field. They haven't found that rhythm yet.
So the penalty makes it a first down, Kentucky. Sumo-Karngbaye, as he finds just enough of a seam out to the 46.
Nice job by Sumo-Karngbaye. Last year, after transferring from NC State, he had to sit behind Ray Davis, who was a total alpha. So he played a little bit of running back, a little bit of receiver. This year, he's a running back, and that was a nice job finding a crease right there. He's a big weapon for them, catching the ball out of the backfield, too. He's also their best pass protector on third downs. For this offense to get into a rhythm, maybe getting number 0 the ball a little bit more.
Second and 4, Vandagriff. Quick strike is off the mark. There may have been some miscommunication there. There was Dingle, the tight end, and you saw Brown streaking down the field.
Well, he's trying to fit this football into Jordan Dingle over the middle of the field here, but he's got Leonga Lafau, and it's a hard throw to have to navigate. I think watching this live, you're thinking, why can't you make that throw? Put it out in front of him a little bit more, but firm with an arc and throwing over defenders, never easy.
Third down and 4. Vandagriff on third and 4, being chased by Simmons, launches it downfield. Wide open is Maclin. First down, Cats.
You very seldomly see coverage busts by this Texas defense, but you saw one right there. Maclin's lined up right here. He's just running a post down the field, and there is nobody even close to him in the deep third of the field. This Texas defense has only given up 17 completions of 20 or more yards, second fewest in the country, because they don't have mental errors. But you saw a big one right there, helping give Kentucky some life.
42-yard reception by Jamarion Maclin. Vandagriff, here they go. Inside the 10-yard line is Gilmore.
I like the play call there by offensive coordinator Bush Hamdan, because you're just trying to get it out of Brock Vandagriff's hands early. You see him right there. You're spitting it out wide and trying to get this big Texas D line to go east and west and wear them down. In this area of the field, Joe, where the windows are so small and hard to throw into, it makes it even harder to run the football at times, just because of how big and physical they are in the interior of that defensive line. So that last play call, essentially an extension of a run play.
Second and 5. Sumo-Karngbaye looking to bounce it, then he cuts inside. It's going to be 3rd and 1 inside the 5-yard line.
One guy we haven't called his name too often so far is Dane Key. 6'3" wide receiver. He's been their go-to guy. He's been the playmaker for this offense all season long, and fade routes are part of his specialty. That's something he's got in his arsenal. He counts for 37% of his team's receiving yards. It's the most in the SEC, but this is a situation he's tailor-made for. He's lining up here at the bottom of the screen, one-on-one, versus Texas's best corner, Jahdae Barron.
Here's 3rd down and 1. Trying to run it inside. The ball came out, and Sumo-Karngbaye was able to fall back on it, but that was nearly disastrous.
Well, Trey Moore was able to chase him down from the outside, and very lucky. This took a very nice bounce right back into Sumo-Karngbaye's arms, and it looks like Mark Stoops is going to repay the favor that Steve Sarkisian did in the opening drive of the game, going for it here on 4th and short.
They're 9 of 21 this season on 4th down. Kentucky on the road against the number 3 team in the country, rolling the dice. 4th down and 2. Vandagriff to the end zone. Touchdown, Kentucky. Josh Kattus.
A fantastic job that time by Josh Kattus, fighting through the traffic. He got run into by Alfred Collins, and I didn't think he was going to be able to get open on his route. Right here, he's going to slam into Collins here and then continue on the drag route. Great job of staying with it. Brock Vandagriff held the football just long enough.
Progressive pylon cam. Here's your look.
Buy some time. Beautiful look at that and the payoff. Mark Stoops going for it on 4th and 2. And Kentucky responds. Tremendous job there. Great leadership by Brock Vandagriff on that drive.
They had the big 42-yard reception that set them up. And then the 4th down touchdown as Alex Rayner adds the extra point to tie this game. Josh Kattus, who had that fumble recovery touchdown for the upset game winner earlier this year against Ole Miss, gets the first touchdown of the day for Kentucky as Coach Stoops risks it and gets the reward. Kevin, so much. You know, listen, you can have the Heisman conversation any way you want, but one of the things I often say about the Heisman is just that it factor. Yeah. Like, you sort of know it when you see it. The guy who's got the it thing going.
Dominant on both sides of the ball. I don't think I've ever seen a player like him in the 18 years I've been here at ESPN.
The flag comes in at the end of the kickoff.
Well, Deon Walker's pretty good, too. He's got first-round talent written all over him. 6'6", 350. When you watch him on film, Joe, you just can't block him. He's so strong, shedding offensive linemen here against Auburn and making the play. But he also makes a lot of plays that don't show up in the stat sheet. He can play defensive end, too. Setting the edge, forcing the ball back inside for a tackle. Nice. But he's got some wiggle, too, for a 350-pounder here. Beating a guard and a running back on a pass rush to get into the backfield. He's not going to make the sack, but he makes a play. When this guy's rolling, people simply can't block him, and they're happy to have him back on the field. Even not at 100%, he's a guy that really needs to make his presence felt in this game.
He is an excellent player. You talk to all the coordinators in the SEC, his name will always come up when you ask about the most talented, the most disruptive defensive lineman in the league. Kickoff went out of bounds from LaRose, so Texas starts off on the 35-yard line. They go with the short pitch to Blue, and Blue squares those shoulders and gets it out past the 40-yard line.
They say speed kills, and he has this in bunches. Zion Childress is going to make a tackle in the backfield, coming on a blitz from the nickel spot, and Blue's able to make him miss, and then he's able to get north. You see this all the time with them, whether it's run plays like this on the option pitch. They love throwing him swing passes out in the flat. It's basically an extension of a sweep play, and his speed and his explosiveness leads to big-time plays for this offense.
They fake the short pitch this time. Ewers, he's going to be dragged down from behind by Silver.
And that's a good example of Steve Sarkisian, how he's always staying a step ahead. He's setting things up. What happened on the last play? There was a pitch to Jaden Blue. That time, they faked the pitch to the running back, hoping to freeze the secondary and take a shot. Again, Kentucky's defense doing a nice job. They're not taking the bait. They're staying home and not giving up explosive plays.
Loaded backfield on 3rd and 1. They will go straight ahead, and Blue out to midfield for a first down, Texas.
That's a great job of adding another wrinkle. 4th and 1 all season long. The true freshman Jared Gibson lined up here is getting a fullback dive. That's where everybody for Kentucky is thinking is going to get it. And instead, it's Blue going this way. It's another example of Steve Sarkisian. It's just a short yardage play, not a big deal, but he completely had Kentucky's defense fooled that time. Nice job setting it up.
Jaden Blue averaging 8.6 yards per carry in this first half. Wisner, he cuts back against the grain, and he weaves his way out in front before he's tackled by Afari.
That's the crazy part, because you got Jaden Blue doing it, and then Quintravious Wisner comes in, and he can do the exact same thing. He's so patient on these stretch runs, and when he finds a crease, he's able to explode and get upfield. So you've got two backs in Blue and Wisner that can run the same plays, can both catch the football, keep each other fresh. It's a lot to have to contend with.
2nd and 3. Ewers. Easy pitch and catch to Isaiah Bond for another first down to the 25-yard line.
That is an unbelievable touch throw into a very small window over top of the Georgia transfer, Pop Dumas Johnson. You got Bond here running the deep crossing route, but this reminds me about my old teammate Kurt Warner, who's the best I've ever seen make throws like this, over top of defenders and into tight windows. That was amazing.
Goes for 17 yards.
Got to be careful here. DeAndre Moore at receiver lining up in the backfield.
Blue's the deep back. Moore is split to the side, and they go with Blue, and Blue just hits that accelerator when he sees the hole and goes for 9 yards.
Well, and there's the acceleration you're talking about, stretch zone, and the center, Jake Majors, is up front. He's just going to let Deon Walker go and just kind of let him wash out to the right side. And nice job of Blue when you see that crease just exploding upfield.
Second and 2. Blue again, and this time he gets down to the 12-yard line, and that'll move the chains.
And this is not easy, but you're seeing the athleticism too. Colt Hudson that time at right guard, pulling around, Gunnar Helm at tight end, getting an extra big body at the point of attack. This has been a little bit more of a physical approach, I think, early in this game, Joe. It's not just deep shots every single play and trying to go fast and air raid stuff. This is old school by Steve Sarkisian.
Remember a week ago when they were up there at Arkansas in that rivalry game on the road, Arkansas rallied back. It was 13-10, and then they just casually went down and controlled things with a 75-yard touchdown drive. That's what this drive feels like here. Weisner just a yard.
Well, the strength I mentioned of Kentucky's defense is their D-line up front, and they've got a lot of big athletic bodies that can shut you down. When you go back, you watch the Ole Miss game, Joe, on tape, they completely took that game over. And their defensive line coach, Anwar Stewart, he's been doing this for a couple of years now. In my opinion, one of the best in the business. He's done a great job with this unit right here. That's Anwar.
They beat number 6 Ole Miss on the road. That was their highest-ranked road win since 1977. Batted right in Ewer's face, so it'll be 3rd and 9 as the ball falls to the turf. Josiah Hayes, who's back from an Achilles injury suffered in spring football, making the play.
Yeah, he just fought through 2 blockers that time, 330 pounds. And you know Quinn Ewers is a bit of a sidearm thrower, so it made it a little bit easier to get the paw on that. But a nice job now setting up 3rd down. And again, Joe, we talk in these situations, you got to force field goals. You can't allow touchdowns. You got to stop the bleeding here if you're Kentucky.
So the veteran Brad White, the defensive coordinator, has 6 years, done a great job through the years with the Kentucky defense. 3rd down and 9. Ewers. And he's going to have to throw that away. So the Kentucky defense doesn't break at the end of that 10-play drive.
Nice job by Kentucky that time defensively with a couple of spies. Dumas Johnson at linebacker was watching.
That was a late flag, Jesse.
Yeah. J.J. Weaver on that last play as well, wrapping around.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 1. Penalty is after this is the goal. Automatic. First down.
And that's just a killer. If you're trying to do what Kentucky's trying to do today, your defense does their job, and then you get a penalty post-play like that.
Well,
Hairston.
It's Maxwell Hairston, and he's in the end zone. He gets punched first, but it's never the guy that gets punched first. It's the guy that gets punched second. Sorry, he's right here. Follow right here. You're going to see when the play's over, there's a little swat here.
Yep, you're right.
But he got caught throwing the second punch.
That was Golden who threw that punch. Blue diving ahead to the end zone. Ball came out at the end, but it's a touchdown nonetheless because the ball crossed the plane of the goal line. So a touchdown for Jaden Blue. After the costly penalty, Texas cashes in.
Nice job pulling 2 guards that time up front by Texas. Gets Blue to the goal line. It was him one-on-one with Jordan Lovett right at the line of scrimmage. He tries to stretch the ball over the end zone, and that ball's coming out, Joe, before it looks like anything. An elbow touches the ground. Knee goes down there. Where's the football in relationship to the end zone, the goal line in that moment?
Here's the other angle from the other side. So on one angle, you got Pop Dumas Johnson blocking the view. On the other angle
is a touchdown. That play is under further review.
That's probably our best look. On the other angle down the line, unfortunately, Jaden Blue is curling his back around. So we're going to try to give you every look at this possible. Remember, the ruling on the field is that it's a touchdown. So they need the video evidence that says otherwise. And they're going to take a look.
And the ball just needs to break a part of the plane for this to be a touchdown with it being in firm control. The entire football doesn't have to clear the goal line, and that's one thing they're going to be looking at as well. When does he lose possession of this ball?
Our rules expert is Bill Lamonier. Billy?
Well, do we have conclusive video evidence? It's a tough one. I'd go touchdown on this. It's going to stand.
At that point, the question is, has he already broken the plane at that point right there?
Well, the problem is the angle.
Yeah.
Because we're not down the line there. We do have the cameras that are down the line, both this side and the reverse shot. And now here's a different angle. But those shots, as we showed you, were blocked by players.
I agree with Bill. I don't think there's enough to overturn this. I think this is going to stand as a touchdown. That might be the best view you have there, honestly.
It undoubtedly is. Remember, this is what we gave you from the pylon, but
just too far away.
That, and then you see him turning his back. Trying to see where the ball is there.
It's the tip of the football just past the line there, and when does he lose it?
It was Jordan Lovett, the Kentucky player who was there to meet him at the goal line.
This is why coaches always tell ball carriers, if it's not fourth down, be careful when it comes to stretching the ball out across the end zone like this, because it gets punched out and knocked away. You've seen so many times in the past, these turn into touchbacks.
You know, I think the best thing we could do is to sync up the cameras, so that can help in determining. And here's that view.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
So it is a touchdown for Texas.
Costly penalty by Maxwell Hairston there. They had them off the field on third down, probably attempting a field goal. But instead, fresh set of downs for Matthew McConaughey's and Bijan Robinson's hook 'em horns, and they make them pay.
You just can't do it. Matthew McConaughey, of course, always present, supporting his horns. Had a great visit with him today on SEC Nation, hanging out with that crew all morning long. And this is what happened moments ago, Jesse, with that penalty that has Mark Stoops so upset.
Yeah, and it's after the play. The ball's been thrown away. Hairston's here in the middle of the field. Just watch this right here. He gets clocked first by Golden, and then he's the one that responds. He just can't help himself. It's that tap in the back of the head that gets called.
And with that, 14-7 Texas. And Steve Sarkisian said, listen, this means a ton to me because so many of these players were here during his first year. They were 5 and 7. I mean, it wasn't the best of times early on with Coach Sark as they made the transition and make the ascent to what they are now. Number 3 team in the country, a 14-7 lead here at home over Kentucky. Here's the dangerous Barion Brown, who has 5 kickoff return touchdowns in his career. But look at this effort from the Texas special teams unit as he is tripped up and denied. That was Ryan Niblett making the tackle on kickoff coverage.
Well, we saw on the last drive at the end, Joe, that Ewers was gingerly limping off the field. This was a run he had on that last drive. That's big Keyshawn Silver taken to the ground. Kind of falls on the back of his legs there. I think we'll keep our eye on the health of number 3 for Texas. Went into the tent for a short while. He's back on the bench now, but something to keep an eye on.
So I'm sitting there on the bench right next to Arch Manning. And now this Kentucky offense, 87 yards, but 60 of them came on 2 plays. Can they find some consistency? They'll try to with the run game. As out to the 13-yard line is Demie Sumo-Karngbaye, tackled by Gilbo.
Yeah, well, it's been a big different story. The first 2 drives to that last one. We saw a coverage bust by Texas in the back end, which was the big explosive play. And then really nice job by Vandagriff and his tight end, Kattus, on 4th and 1, hooking up for a score at the end. You know, it's funny, we're watching the run game right now. It's very one-dimensional. It's a lot of running backs. We haven't seen a lot of quarterback runs, though. And when you go back to the Ole Miss game, they won and got the upset on the road. Quarterbacks ran the ball 26 times for Kentucky's offense. And you mentioned at the start of this game, Joe, Brock Vandagriff probably not 100%. You wonder if that has any impact right now on the play calling for Kentucky.
And you saw him asking for a timeout. Brock Vandagriff, quarterback, has been dealing with shoulder issues. He's had some knee issues, of course. His career, he's supposed to be a superstar at Georgia, makes his way over to Kentucky. This has been one of the things, by the way, with Kentucky. The transfer quarterbacks in recent years. Of course, you remember Will Levis and then Devin Leary a year ago, who had a great career at NC State, but it didn't really materialize when he came over to play for the Cats.
No, and it hurts your continuity on offense when you always have a new guy in and having to learn the system and get familiar with the chemistry with his teammates. It makes it difficult. Keep in mind, too, Kentucky has had 5 different offensive coordinators in the last 5 years. In general, offenses that are the most successful are usually the ones where the offensive coordinator, like Bush Hampton you see there, really has an understanding of his quarterback. What plays does he like? What concepts should we throw in games? And the quarterback, conversely, can expect play calls in different situations of games because they've done it over and over and over again. And Kentucky just simply has not had that these last couple of years.
Of course, Liam Cohn had success. He was up in the NFL. Now he's with Tampa Bay in the NFL, having some success. So this is off the timeout, a 2nd down and 6. Straight ahead run, and dragging a defender with him is Sumo-Karngbaye for a 1st down.
Yeah, that's a physical big boy run in between the tackles. And Karngbaye at 6 foot, 210 pounds. Getting into the 2nd level. Nice job by the offensive line giving him that crease. But you go back and watch the film against Georgia, I thought Sumo-Karngbaye had his best game. He was running possessed in that one. And again, for this offense to find a rhythm, stay on the field, they should keep force-feeding number 0.
Remember, Kentucky had a 6-point lead in the 2nd half of that game against Georgia. Vandagriff, what an effort for the interception that time by McDonald. Jelani McDonald goes Superman, dives for it, and picks it off.
It's the 2nd time in the last 2 drives they've been trying to hit the tight end over the middle of the field. And the 2nd time, Brock Vandagriff has just been a little errant with the throw. Jelani McDonald, this is incredible. They say DBs play DB because they don't have good hands and can't play receiver. Are you kidding me on that catch?
Look at him.
Wow.
Fingertips, midair, full dive.
I think they're going to want to just take a look at that and make sure he had possession when he went to the ground.
We'll see. I mean, if he did, that is an amazing interception. But did he have firm control, or did the ball hit the turf? They are saying on the field it's an interception and Texas ball.
One of the reasons this defense is the best pass defense statistically is because they've got ball hawks and guys that can catch. Seeing here, do you see the ball move at any point from that angle?
Ruling on the field is an interception. This play is under further review.
Remember, Texas came in leading the SEC in interceptions, came into the day with 15. The ruling on the field is that this is number 16.
Yeah, and looking at this again from these different angles, it looks to me like he gets his right forearm underneath that ball right there.
That's impressive.
It is. Well, he's kind of got like a fist with his right hand.
Now look at this view that we're getting here.
That's incredible.
That is just incredible.
I think both arms get underneath.
I do too, and you can then see his left forearm hitting the turf with the ball on top of it. So just to make the body control dive, but then to readjust at the end here and secure the ball.
Wow. I think when his left hand went down to the ground to break the fall, it actually served as, to get under the ball and help secure it. Doesn't look like there's a bunch of movement there. And I think the call's going to stand, Joe. I think that'll be their 16th pick, which leads the SEC.
This is a guy in Jelani McDonald who had been an offensive player and star when he was recruited, was a big-time recruit. And he has stepped up recently. Made his first career start against Vandy.
The ruling on the field stands. First down, Texas.
It's a phenomenal play by McDonald, now giving it back to this offense. And one thing Texas has been outstanding at the last couple games, scoring points off of takeaways. They had 3 against the Gators, turned that into 3 touchdowns. First takeaway against Arkansas was a touchdown. The second one, they iced the game with 6 minutes to go. Good news here for Texas. Quinn Ewers is back on the field.
Ewers was favoring that right leg. And gets it complete to Golden as Golden has yet another first down. And that is now 6 receptions for Matthew Golden.
Really nice job by Ewers here working through his progression. This time he's going to have Golden here working on the in route. He starts this looking this way, comes back and finds it very quickly from the pocket.
14 yards after the sensational interception by McDonald. And go with the misdirection. It's Jaden Blue as he is met at the 18-yard line.
All right, so this is sort of a sudden change situation now for this defense. In a position on the field they just found themselves in after the takeaway and the interception by Vandagriff. Now they've got to bow up here. Field goals, not touchdowns. You're going to keep harping on that and saying that, but with the way Kentucky and how inconsistent they've been offensively all season, it's moments like these Kentucky has to win if they're going to have a shot here in this game.
Here's Blue out of the backfield. And just a yard that time before he is taken down by Pop Dumas Johnson.
Okay, so where's J.J. Weaver and where's the pass rush right now for Kentucky? You're getting a mass substitution here on 3rd down, trying to get some fresh bodies on the field. J.J. Weaver might be lined up against one of the best offensive linemen in the country, and Kelvin Banks on the left side of this offensive line. 2 guys that are going to play on Sundays, going toe-to-toe right here on a critical play in this first half.
3rd down and 7. Ewers with time to the end zone. Touchdown, Gunnar Helm again.
Well, we talked about Weaver going up against Kelvin Banks, and that time Banks completely stoned him on the pass rush. Weaver tried to spin. There was just nowhere to go. The athleticism by number 78. This is why a lot of people think this guy could be the first tackle taken in the NFL draft. I mean, that was absolutely nothing. Not able to back him up. Nice job by Ewers, finding Helm in the back of the end zone there for his 2nd touchdown of the game.
Gunnar Helm, who Coach Sark absolutely loves. He says he's a true tight end, a do-it-all tight end. Explosive, can block, can be a dangerous pass catcher. And he showed it here. 21-7. As Ewers with his 2nd touchdown pass of the day. And again to Gunnar Helm. But what set it up? The dynamic interception by Jelani McDonald. Horns are looking good. The Taco Bell Live My Student section here at DKR. All season long student sections across the country competing to be the Taco Bell Live My Student section of the year. You can download the Taco Bell app to learn more. Always good to use that app after a night out in Austin at Bar Moxie or at Haymaker or maybe Cane and Abel's.
Are any of those on the way back to our hotel?
We can make that happen.
Twist my rubber arm.
Katie?
You know, Tess, Steve Sarkisian told us he's really hoping Gunnar Helm wins the John Mackey Award because he's a true tight end. Sark said so many of these guys that are considered for the reward, it's about how many catches they have. Well, half the time they're split out as wide receivers. Sark said Helm is an inline tight end that is still making explosive plays in the pass game, and he's been so huge, a huge part of their overall offensive success this season. So steady and reliable, Tess.
And Jess, remember when we talked about senior day of how special it is for Sark because of what they went through? Well, Helm is one of the 4 players that's still with Sark from his very first recruiting class in December of the year before.
And Katie's point, he's complete. He's not just good catching the ball. He can block people, and he stepped up. When they lost J.T. Sanders to the NFL draft, he stepped up in a big way, was leading the offense in reception and receiving yards coming into this one.
Here's Brown. Brown trying to find something in space, but he is tackled at the 27-yard line.
Well, your best players have to touch the ball if you're Kentucky, and you said it, Barion Brown, 5 kick return touchdowns. No one's ever had more in the SEC, so if you're Bush Hamden, you're just trying to get him in space, whether it's screens, whether it's reverses, jet sweeps, just go make people miss and use your speed to your advantage.
Malik Muhammad doing a nice job from that corner position of containing him there. 2nd down and 8. Sumo-Karngbaye as he can only get 2 yards. There will be third down.
They need this third down, not just to try and score points on this drive, but they can't punt it and give it back to Texas now. Down 2 touchdowns. With about 2 minutes to go left, 3 timeouts in Quinn Ewers' back pocket to steal some more points before going in at halftime. This is a big third down here for Kentucky, having to deal with all this crowd noise.
Big Al Collins and that defensive front for Pete Kwiatkowski's Texas defense has been just awesome as we come up on the 2-minute timeout. Texas with a 2-touchdown lead here at home on a beautiful day in magnificent downtown Austin, Texas. You're with us in Austin watching the SEC on ABC.
Passing situation here on third down, and Texas has Trey Moore and Colin Simmons coming off the edge. How can Kentucky use chips by tight ends and running backs to slow this pass rush down?
Third down and 6. They didn't slow it down much. Vandagriff gobbled up, taken down. Barion Brown.
Well, they did a great job getting it handled on the outside. It was on the inside. They had a problem. It was Vernon Broughton who was first into the backfield for Texas. Right here. He's going to work his way in. You see the chip by the running back on one side, the chip by the tight end on the other. That's fine, but you've got to be able to handle the inside too. And they couldn't do that. Vandagriff had guys in his lap. And Barion Brown at 260 pounds. He's a load. He's able to make the play.
Texas used a timeout, by the way, and then quickly back out onto the field to set up this punt return as Silas Bolden will be deep to return the LaRose punt. Bolden from the 30-yard line. As he is pushed back and contained. Player check-in is presented by Allstate.
Been really impressed with the touch throws by Quinn Ewers early in this game. First drive, you see this thrown over top to Ty Bryant to Matthew Golden. Easy catch. Yak after. This has been the best throw of the game. Isaiah Bond on a deep crossing route. Just laying it over Dumas Johnson at linebacker. And then on the touchdown, Gunnar Helm in the back of the end zone, laying it over Childress. Again, Quinn Ewers, he might not have the strongest arm in all of college football from a velocity standpoint, but there's a lot of different ways to throw completions, and the touch throws into small windows is something that NFL scouts, head coaches, and GMs are going to love about Ewers.
There's Blue out of the backfield as he makes his way rolling towards the 35-yard line.
They've got 2 timeouts, and you expect Sark to keep the foot on the pedal here. Now, one thing Kentucky's got to be wary of, you've seen Sark set stuff up before, throwing that swing route. At some point here, he's going to pump fake the swing route and try and take a shot deep down the field. So the eye discipline from Kentucky here in this 2-minute situation, really, really big.
2nd and 5. Ewers gets it complete, and it's a first down. And again, it's Helm. Of course, Helm with 2 touchdown receptions today.
Of course, Kentucky's going to receive the ball first here in the second half. So Kentucky would love to march this down, get a few more points before heading in at halftime.
Under a minute to go in this first half. Ewers again with the completion, and here is Bond.
Great job of awareness that time by the Alabama transfer, securing the catch, making a guy miss, and then understanding in this situation, getting out of bounds and stopping the clock.
Flag is down back at the 40-yard line.
Eligible player downfield, number 85. 5-yard penalty. First down.
They're calling that on Helm, the tight end. I wonder, is he covered? Yeah, he is covered, so he's not an eligible receiver.
That's right. He had to be a yard off the ball, and he was right on the line of scrimmage. Ineligible to run a route that time. Good call by the official.
So that's a mistake in terms of how they aligned, as Helm was on the line of scrimmage, but the receiver to the outside of him was covering him. So now the odd call to being a tight end as the illegal man downfield. 1st and 15. Ewers, another completion to Bond. 44 seconds remain. 2 timeouts for Texas.
Well, and another good job this time by Kelvin Banks, because Kentucky's trying to run a stunt, and they're trying to get them confused with the wraparound out here to the outside. Banks is not fooled by it at all. He stays locked in, extends the arm with his guard Hayden Connor, and he's right there to handle that and just leaves a very clean pocket for Quinn Ewers.
Second and 5. Ewers, pocket was collapsing, but he's able to get it to Bolden, and Bolden fumbles the ball but recovers it as he slides out of bounds, and Texas is in position here with 35 seconds remaining in this first half.
Nice job again by the offensive line, giving Ewers just enough time to get rid of this football after stepping up, and their punt returner, Bolden, does the rest.
Still 2 timeouts. Ewers goes underneath again to Helm, and now they can think about managing that clock.
Yeah, this is a spot you think Sark calls a timeout here and let yourselves regroup.
Bert Auburn, the senior reliable kicker, could get in position for something here as we check in with Kevin Nagandi. Yep. Now it's the offense just coming down the field here. You see that slight limp, Jesse, with Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to move around the pocket much. He's been lucky. His offensive line has done an outstanding job giving him a clean pocket. Kentucky has got to find a way to affect him and his timing and his rhythm. 7 straight completions right now. That's nothing new. We've seen him go on stretches of 19 straight and 17 straight in past games, but Kentucky's got to find a way to make him move a little bit back there.
Vandagriff looks on, the Kentucky quarterback, and watches Quinn Ewers do his thing. As he was looking for Isaiah Bond in the end zone, Hardaway had coverage.
Yeah, nice job by Hardaway, too. At the very last possible second on the slant and go by Bond, he started to turn around to try to locate that, used his right arm, swat this thing away. He's in pursuit right there, and that's an indicator that referees look for, whether it's going to be pass interference or not. If you turn your head to try to find the ball, they tend to be a lot more lenient.
There had been 7 straight completions for Ewers, and then that incompletion now leaves him with a 3rd and 2. Still the 1 timeout, 19 seconds to play. And that's incomplete, so unable to convert. He was looking for DeAndre Moore, who Katie told us the ankle isn't great today, but he's going to give it a go. Childress had coverage.
Well, it was a shallow cross, but I think this time Ewers takes the wrong crosser. He's trying to throw this. He's got a guy coming this way who's wide open. This is going to be a throw I think Quinn Ewers would wish he had back.
Wow. I mean, everything cleared out there, Jesse.
Yeah, that's going to be a walk-in to get the first down, and then you're in a different situation here, maybe with an opportunity to throw into the end zone.
So Bert Auburn with a 49-yard attempt. Season long is 45. But great target line kick to add to the lead. 24-7 Texas. After that drive for their offense to close out this first half, went 8 plays, 40 yards. Aflac trivia question. We ask you, the last team to win the SEC in its first season in the conference.
Alabama, when the conference was founded in
Are you really digging it? I mean, you like
I'm going
blowing
deep.
Dust off of the record book?
Yeah, I'm going far back.
All right. Now here is Texas in the SEC. The Aflac trivia question, Jesse, you are too good.
Whoa.
I mean, honestly, you're hanging out down in Birmingham going through the records there with Sankey and Hussey, because 1933, the inaugural season of the SEC, it was Alabama.
Really?
Yes. Now, when you think more modern times,
yeah, I mean,
of all this, we've had so much conference realignment.
Sure.
A team that comes into one of the power conferences and wins in their first year, Virginia Tech in the ACC.
That's
in
incredible.
2004.
Wow. Well, and Texas is going to have an opportunity in their first year in the SEC. Get
Win
that
today,
as well.
Win next week against A&M. That's the simplest way to go about it. Brown from the end zone. He wants a chance. Oh, the ball comes out as he falls on it. But had Texas recovered right there, even with the final seconds, they would have a shot to add to the score.
I'm watching that live, and I'm thinking that's the 6th kick return touchdown this guy is going to have. He got to a spot where he was one-on-one with the kicker. He just started tripping himself up. Dropped the ball. He's lucky he was able to recover that. If Texas jumps on that, Joe, they have an opportunity to kick another field goal here at the end of the half.
That was, to your point, that was Will Stone, the kickoff specialist, who was one-on-one with a guy who's arguably the best kick returner in the SEC. He's got 5 career kickoff return touchdowns, and it was Will Stone right before he tripped up. And now you see Quinn Ewers making his way to the locker room. He's been favoring that right leg since about 7 minutes to go before halftime, as Sumo-Karngbaye is stacked up. 24-7. Ewers with 2 touchdown passes in that first half. The Capital One halftime report is still to come after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. In the country, they're averaging 8.7 yards on first down alone, and with that, a 24-7 lead Texas has over Kentucky. All right, let's get into it with this Kentucky offense and quarterback Brock Vandagriff.
Well, up and down. It's been that way all season long. It's been that way in the first half of this game, too. This was a big 3rd down early in the game, and you've got 3 receivers running curl routes. Brock Vandagriff takes off and runs. He has time to stay in the pocket and look downfield. There's a completion to be had, and they might be able to move the sticks. Instead, it's a minimal gain, and they've got to punt the football away. And, of course, turnovers have been an issue all year as well. Missing throws over the middle of the field. This is a remarkable interception by Jelani McDonald. Just the inconsistent play from the QB position, a big reason why this offense has struggled getting into a rhythm.
Remember, Barion Brown had a good-looking return just before halftime. Let's see what he gets here as he is met right at the 20-yard line. Katie, what's up?
Yeah, Tess, I just spoke with Mark Stoops. He agrees with you, Jesse. They're going to make a change at quarterback. We are going to see Cutter Boley come in and start the second half for the Wildcats. He said, we hope that he can provide us a spark. As for Quinn Ewers, I spoke to Steve Sarkisian. He said, he's fine. He got rolled up on. It's just football.
So here we go with Cutter Boley, Jesse and Katie, the true freshman who many think could be the future of the program.
He was the 3rd-ranked prospect coming out of Kentucky. 6'5", 214 pounds, really good arm strength. He's athletic. Alabama wanted him. Miami wanted him. He chose Kentucky, and they feel like he could be the future for this program.
Had a couple touchdown passes last week against Murray State. Boley is sacked, brought down immediately by Trey Moore. Welcome to Texas, Cutter Boley.
Yeah, this isn't Murray State. Trey Moore is not going to get fooled, and he plays under control here off the naked fake off the edge. He's not just going to follow this and go flying. He's able to recover, rally, and make a tackle. Listen, he was great against Murray State, Cutter Boley was. But that's the 2nd worst defense in the FCS. Texas, statistically, is the best in all of the FBS. So this is a huge test for the true freshman.
Trey Moore's sack was a loss of 13 yards. So now Boley from his own end zone. Wide open is Brown, and they connect. Barion Brown comes up big as Cutter Boley provides a spark. That goes for 43 yards.
Jahdae Barron looks like he's about to poach that slot route. He hesitates for a moment, and that allows the speed of Brown to get in behind him. It was a quick decision and a quick throw by Boley. And another explosive play for this Kentucky offense. How about that answer after getting tackled for a loss like that by Trey Moore? You just come back firing and find a shot.
Sacked on his first play, 43 yards downfield on his next play as Wilcox takes it ahead.
Well, going back and watching that game against Murray State, Cutter Boley is a guy that obviously can stay in the pocket, can see the field. He's got a presence about him, but what I like about him, he plays fast. The football gets out of his hands. He makes decisions quickly and intentionally. I think you saw an example of that on the deep ball to Barion Brown just a moment ago.
Speaking of making decisions intentionally, Mark Stoops making the decision saying, hey, listen, this offense isn't moving the ball. We're going to give ourselves a chance, and we're going to do so with the true freshman, Cutter Boley. So the quarterback change, and can Kentucky do something early here in this second half? Not that time, as Sorrell and the rest of that defensive line pushing back Wilcox.
Yeah, just too big up front. And just there have been a few times in the first half they were getting pushed around. That time, great job. Sadir Mitchell, the redshirt freshman, at 350 pounds. He wasn't going anywhere, and now a big third down test for the true freshman quarterback.
Mitchell from Patterson, New Jersey, played in the Big North. See Barion Brown over on the sideline. A little exchange with Mark Stoops after he had that big reception. Now a third down and 6. Pressure up the middle on Boley. Releases as he takes a hit and gets another big completion. Maclin inside the 10, and all of a sudden it's 1st and goal, Kentucky.
And Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator for Texas, smells blood in the water because the true freshman's in the game, so he's bringing a safety blitz. It's cover 0, nobody deep. Kentucky was able to pick it up.
Offense, number 75. 10-yard penalty. Third down.
They're bringing it back. Eli Cox, the center, is who they call out on the holding.
Yeah, and it was Anthony Hill lined up right over top of him, the inside linebacker right here, and this is where the holding happens. Texas dials up the pressure to try to rattle the true freshman. He wasn't. He found the completion to Maclin, but that's the second time, Joe, in this game, and you got to wonder right here.
That's Michael Taft coming in, making contact right on the helmet with Boley.
At minimum, roughing the passer.
Hey, Bill LeMonnier, should that have been a penalty on Taft in Texas there?
Quarterback there that wants those type of calls, but I don't have. That's just incidental contact, and it's not late.
3rd and 16. They just go underneath the Rodriguez. So you heard what Bill had to say. You can see Boley was complaining after the play.
Here's Michael Taft coming in here late on that safety blitz. He leaves his feet, and I mean that forehead of his helmet goes right into his face mask. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but that's where the contact was, and I think that easily could have and should have been, at minimum, roughing the passer.
Hey, the bottom line is Boley comes in, he showed some guts, stayed in the pocket, put the ball downfield, but it was brought back with the holding call in the center, Eli Cox. Did hit on the bigger play earlier, so there's your new quarterback. But the defense eventually does their job. A flag comes in before the snap for the punt was able to get off. Mark Stoops looking for an explanation.
False start. Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
To your point, Joe, it is good news that the true freshman Boley comes in the game, and all of a sudden they were much more explosive. There's the shot down the field to Barion Brown. That last one to Maclin got called back. By the way, that's the second time in this game there's been a big penalty at Kentucky in a critical moment that has cost them. Remember, Maxwell Harrison had the punch in the first half. Should have just been a field goal, ended up being a touchdown. And so the discipline right now and the penalties hurting Kentucky.
Ross on to punt away as he drives this ball inside the 10-yard line. And that is where Bolden, I think he called for the fair catch there. Coverage where it counts is presented by T-Mobile 5G home internet.
Well, Quinn Ewers probably not 100% right now. We've seen him limping around, but a really nice job from the pocket, throwing with anticipation. This was on the first drive, a throw to Golden on the curl route, getting rid of it far before Golden's able to turn around an accurate throw to get upfield. Also making quick decisions here. Ball out of his hands quickly on the screen that time to Golden. Nice job down in the red zone here. Nothing open on 4th down. The scramble drill in effect, finding Gunnar Helm in the back of the end zone, extending the play, and then the touch, dropping the ball into the bucket. We've seen 3 different examples of that earlier in this game.
Weisner, as he kept his balance, good hard run by Quintravion Weisner. Texas was so dominant in the first half. Look at the time of possession, the total yards, and of course the defense doing their job on the other side against Kentucky.
Yeah, well, it's been complete. We just showed you a bunch of nice passing plays, but they also have been running the ball for over 120 yards. This offensive line for Texas really has taken the game over so far against a very good defensive front from Kentucky.
Weisner. And this time he's wrapped up by Deion Walker, one of the more talented defensive linemen in the SEC.
Yeah, and this is one of the first times we've called his name here, but he's not fooled by the fake reverse and pulling offensive linemen, working away from him this way. He's not following that. He's staying at home, and he's going to crash this party. For a guy that's 6'6", 350, man, he's pretty nimble. He's like a big cat. And like I said, you watch him on tape, large human beings cannot block him.
Third and 3. Ewers, remember that tender right leg, and good defensive effort that time to wrap up Matthew Golden. Zion Childress was there to get him.
Yeah, the injury to Quinn Ewers now is really limiting what they can do in the passing game, because you see him limping off the field here. They're not going to be able to move the pocket at all. Everything that they do throwing it is going to have to be from 5 to 7 to 9 yards behind center, so it puts a lot more pressure on this offensive line. And now a decision that Steve Sarkisian needs to make is, do you stick with a quarterback who's not 100% with a nice cushion and lead here in the second half, knowing you're playing Texas A&M next week on the road?
Nose down punt away for Michael Kern as Maclin will field this at the 43, and he's already past midfield. A good return by Jamarion Maclin. That was the first 3 and out for Texas today. So good field position. The Willie Nelson statue here in downtown Austin. Kentucky with the ball when we return. Boley at quarterback. Deep drop, drives the ball, and it's incomplete, looking for Maclin.
Yeah, and that's a nice timing throw that Maclin has to catch. He's running a deep curl over the middle of the field, and Boley doing a nice job of getting rid of this with anticipation before the receivers turned around. That's one you're going to have to make against the best pass defense in the country. Really been impressed with how much conviction Cutter Boley's playing with right now. He's letting it rip.
A true freshman came in to start this second half for Kentucky. Wilcox straight ahead. Wilcox with a really good run of 11 yards.
Yeah, he's been coming on. These last 2 games now, he's had 100 yards in each one, and he is explosive. And for a running back who's 5'10", 197, not the biggest, he's not afraid to run between the tackles. He can be physical and get upfield, and you saw an example of that on that last play.
You got a redshirt freshman running back. You got a true freshman quarterback. So for Kentucky fans, and then in a spot like this on the road against this loaded Texas team, you're getting a glimpse of what could be your future, and they're getting a lot of experience in doing so, trying to rally the Cats back into this. Wilcox taken down by Simmons. Colin Simmons, he's going to be a superstar in coming years.
That's a decision Boley needs to keep the football himself on that zone read that time, because Simmons comes screaming down the edge right here. When that happens, you got to just keep it and take it outside. Trying to freeze that with the jet motion, it doesn't work. So you got to make good decisions, and as a young true freshman, you're figuring this thing out. It's not just in the passing game, but it's in the run game too.
So a TFL for Simmons. That's 6 tackles for loss for Texas today. 2nd and 12. Empty backfield, 7-man coverage, and it'll be 3rd down and 12.
All right, again, big moment for Bush Hamden, the offensive coordinator now. The true freshman in 3rd and obvious passing situation. You've got to help him with protection and chips. You've seen in this game they've used tight ends and running backs to try and chip and slow down the edge rush of Trey Moore and Colin Simmons. What does Bush Hamden do here with all of this crowd noise playing on the road?
Sold out DKR here in Austin, and that's the noise Boley has to deal with on a 3rd down and 12. They're going to run it with Wilcox, and Wilcox spins his way close to the line to gain. It's going to be 4th and about a half a yard.
Well, a situation I think Texas was obviously expecting pass, and they gash him with the run. And they've got a guy coming out here, and there's just a crease. Look at Boley, by the way, getting his running back. Wilcox reset now to take this the opposite direction. Nice job of having command at the line of scrimmage.
4th down and 1. Wilcox needs a yard. He gets driven back. He lost yardage. That big group up front getting after it. That was Boley, and all 300 pounds just crashing home.
Yeah, Maurice Blackwell timed this blitz absolutely perfectly. He drove Eli Cox, the center, into the backfield right there. And that just, there was no gap, nowhere to go, and Texas's defense comes up big. 12 to go to the SEC, and that's the biggest casualty of conference realignment. We lost so many great rivalries. So happy to have that back.
That's next Saturday night, prime time. That was almost an issue there with Deion Walker.
I mean, Quinn Ewers can't walk right now, barely. And I mean, he's back there. You see him limping so much. I mean, he can't even move laterally sideways. And I don't know. You just wonder if Arch Manning, if there's a moment here sometime in the second half that you go to the freshman.
Well, the way the defense is playing?
Absolutely. Considering also who you're playing next week. We just talked about the Texas A&M game. You need Quinn Ewers healthy in that.
That'll be next week, primetime ABC, with, if this score holds up, so much on the line. There's Blue. Ball is out. Ball is out. And Kentucky recovers. Deion Walker with the fumble recovery.
Yeah, it's a nice job. Kentucky swarming to the ball. Looked like Trayvon Ripka got there to knock this thing loose. And we've seen fumbling issues with Jaden Blue all season. 2 against Mississippi State. He had 1 last week against Arkansas here. You see number 90, Ripka, gets his hand in there, pops it loose. And a big turnover now. The big cat, Deion Walker, hopping on it. Kentucky gave away great field position on their last drive. Getting stuffed on 4th down. This is a scenario now. You have to make Texas pay for their giveaway.
Taken over at the 32-yard line. Cutter Boley in the game at quarterback now. He has looked like he's been completely unaffected by the spot of being on the road against the number 3 team. He's been ripping it downfield. See if he can continue to provide a spark. Boley has to escape it to extend the play. And then gets it complete inside the 10-yard line to Rodriguez. It's 1st and goal. Cutter Boley.
Yeah, that's the athleticism we're talking about. He makes Boley miss in the backfield first. He's able to get outside. Watch here on the little stunt up front. And then keep his eyes downfield. And this is not an easy throw into a small window. We've seen Quinn Ewers make a few of those, but this one a beautiful toss to fellow true freshman Willie Rodriguez.
First and goal. Kentucky trying to cut into this lead. Wilcox straight ahead, reaching for the goal line and coming up short at the 1-yard line.
He's able to get so small. You see Trayvon Ripka there. He's the one that forced the fumble, giving it back to Kentucky, and now they're trying to make Texas pay. Getting back to the line of scrimmage quickly here to go again.
Wilcox met in the backfield and driven back, tackled for a loss by Barion Brown.
Okay, I'll go back to this again. The go-to guy all season for Kentucky in the passing game has been Dane Key, number 6. He has 1 target so far in this game. They've thrown his way 1 time. With a game on the line like this and a big play like this, when you gotta have it, you gotta think Bush Ham is trying to find a way to get number 6 a look.
There he is, number 6, Dane Key, 3rd and goal. Boley with time. Boley now running out of time and taken down by Anthony Hill.
It's a huge true freshman mistake that time by Boley. You cannot take a sack. And that's one he just simply has to throw it away. You got to give it to Texas. They have the play covered. Pete Kwiatkowski wins that one. But at this moment right here, nothing open. Throw this thing out the back of the end zone. You give Bush Hampton an opportunity to dial up a better play on 4th down if you want to go for it.
And now Alex Rayner, who's made 18 straight field goals, on to attempt this from 33. And the streak is over. He hadn't missed since October 28th of 2023. And that was a 53-yarder. Since then, 18 straight made until that, and he misses a 33-yarder. So Kentucky comes up short. They had a 4th down they didn't convert. And then after the turnover, this wobbler X-ball off to the side, and Coach Sark and the Horns still with that cushion. Quinn Ewers still out there as the quarterback of Texas, as Jarrett Gibson fumbles the ball. But a Texas offensive lineman, DJ Campbell, was there to fall on it. So here we have these back-to-back moments of the ball hitting.
And I'll tell you what, and you're wondering why Arch Manning maybe isn't playing with Quinn Ewers not being able to walk. It's because of plays like that. This game's 24-7. It feels a lot closer, though, because of what has happened these last couple drives now.
There's Wisner on 2nd and 4, and Wisner will go ahead for the 1st down. And there is Arch Manning, who started in place for Ewers for 2 games this season.
And he was fantastic in those games as well. In my opinion, throws a better deep ball than Quinn Ewers. He's certainly a lot more athletic and is a weapon running the football, too. But Sark right now deciding to stay with his experienced signal call.
Ewers. Ball came out there, and this is going to be returned for a touchdown. That is Pop Dumas Johnson, and finally Kentucky gets a break.
It was Oxendine getting pressure for Kentucky at first. Deion Walker backs a lineman up. It was DJ Campbell right into Quinn Ewers' lap, and I don't know, Joe, if this ball just slipped coming out of his hands. It's the pressure by number 8 on the right, Oxendine, at first that forces him to step up. You see that he starts losing control. Oxendine got a hand on the ball. It started to slip out. And the Georgia transfer and former first-team All-American Butkus finalist, Pop Dumas Johnson, with the pick 6.
Yeah, they're saying that that was actually a forward pass with the ball awkwardly coming out of his hand. So it officially is recorded as an interception return touchdown.
All the momentum now feels like it's back on Kentucky's side.
As Rayner adds the extra point. Let's go back and show you the odd circumstances we just saw with Quinn Ewers losing control of the ball.
We hadn't seen a great pass rush from Kentucky most of this game. Oxendine, though, that was a phenomenal effort just getting a hand on the football. It starts to slip out of Ewers' hands, and there's Johnny on the spot. Dumas Johnson. Texas fans cannot believe it. A fumble on the last drive. Jarrett Gibson puts it on the ground the play before this, and then this disaster play leads to a defensive score for Kentucky. And this game has a completely different feel to it here all of a sudden. That look right there says it all.
And you consider the Kentucky offense that, 2 drives in a row, right? They come down the field, they don't convert a 4th down. That was a scoring opportunity. They get a turnover themselves. They come down the field. They're down there at the 2-yard line. They get sacked. They don't get any points. And all of a sudden, it's the defense that provides the points.
Look what Dumas Johnson has been able to do. Really the heart and soul of this Kentucky defense this year. Brings a physicality to them. Speed to go sideline to sideline. Can cover people, can blitz. He comes up with a massive takeaway to give Kentucky life.
In this second half now, Texas, they've had only 8 plays and 2 turnovers. 8 plays, 2 turnovers. Let's look at our all-state playoff predictor. Of course, you know the situation for Texas. This is what happens if Texas was to get upset. You see the percentages, the chance to reach the college football playoff with the next loss. You lose today against Kentucky, 63%. A&M, 68%. You make it to the SEC championship game, you're just about guaranteed you're in.
This is why Katie asked Steve Sarkisian at the start of the game, how focused is your team? Because a lot of people are already looking ahead to Texas A&M and looking ahead to an SEC championship game. You've got to focus on a very pesky and very talented Kentucky team that have played their best this year against Ole Miss and Georgia and Tennessee.
Ewers gets it back to Wisner, who's tackled right away by J.J. Weaver.
And there's so much pressure now all of a sudden on this Texas offensive line because Quinn Ewers can't get flushed out of the pocket. Everything is going to have to be clean from him in the backfield, and you've got to create run lanes up front against this energized Kentucky defensive line.
Second 14, Wisner. Look at this hole. All too easy for Wisner to move the chains.
There's just nobody filling this gap for Kentucky. They ran it right where Kentucky wasn't. One guy coming outside here, another guy going inside, and they just shoot right through the middle of that. No linebacker in the next level.
Quick strike was incomplete, looking for Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, I kind of feel like Kentucky's playing a bit different now. They're anticipating the ball coming out of Quinn Ewers' hands quickly.
Illegal substitution. Defense. Number 92 failed to get off the field. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
And I know that at the start of this game, Mark Stoops, was thinking, we got to blitz Quinn Ewers. We got to sacrifice more bodies to get pressure on him, knock him off the mark. He can't move right now. So maybe now you're just saying, hey, our defensive line's starting to play better. Let's just let them get upfield, do their thing. We'll keep 7 guys on the back end, see the ball thrown and attack.
First and 5 after the penalty. Ewers throwing back against the grain to Helm. A tight end screen, and Gunnar Helm. Look at this. He can do it all, can't he? Of course, here he has 2 touchdowns today.
And another example of misdirection. Normally, when an offensive line and running back go in the same direction, the ball's going the other way. It's all happening here, except Helm on the backside. And there's a play where you just see everybody from Kentucky floating a little bit to the right. Helm catches it, 3 blockers out in front. Nice job after the catch.
17 yards on the tight end screen to Helm. Wisner straight ahead, upended inside the 40-yard line.
This is where this offensive line has to take over. And one thing, they've had tremendous continuity all year long. All 5 guys have started all 10 games. One of only 8 teams in the country to do that. So it hasn't mattered who's playing quarterback. They're still chomping away at a good pace.
Wisner shaking free inside the 25, down to the 21.
Yeah, it looks like they've found something now on that left side of the offensive line. They're running behind Kelvin Banks at left tackle and Hayden Connor at left guard, and that's where all the push is happening. Big creases for Wisner to run through.
Goes for 17 yards there. This time just a few yards inside the 20. Tackled by Deion Walker.
And this is a nice answer in a time that they needed to put something together offensively to get a rhythm back and also give their defense a breather that's been spending a lot of time on the field here in the 3rd quarter.
By the way, the Kentucky defensive touchdown by Pop Dumas-Johnson has now been changed to a fumble, not an interception, as we come to the end of this 3rd quarter. Texas on the go, but Kentucky trying to roar back. The SEC on ABC, presented by Burger King, returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Working on a mystery, going wherever it leads, running down a dream.
We're back in Austin with Steve Sarkisian. Your offense is putting together a really nice drive after a couple mistakes. What'd you make of the 3rd quarter?
We just got to hold on to the ball. I think we had 3 out of 4 plays to put the ball on the ground. If we can take care of the ball, we're going to move it okay. Our defense is playing really good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
Katie, as you know, Kentucky took advantage of the fact they didn't hold on to the ball. They had the defensive touchdown, and that's why we have a 10-point margin. As soon as Sark says it, the ball hits the turf, and now Ewers just has to throw it away. He just said take care of the ball.
And this is the simple stuff that should just be routine, catching a shotgun snap. And I think Steve Sarkisian's asking himself, what is going on right now? This is one that, whether or not he can walk or not, Quinn Ewers has to be able to field. Lucky that didn't take a worse bounce. He picks it up instead of just jumping on it and just tries to get rid of it.
Remember, he has been favoring that right leg since about 7 minutes to go before halftime. And they're saying that that was a lateral for an 11-yard loss. So they go with the tunnel screen. That's way off the mark, looking for Jaden Blue. Uncharacteristic, because Quinn Ewers is typically so accurate with that.
I just wonder if you have to make a move now to Arch Manning and try and preserve some of the integrity of what you're trying to do offensively in this game. Even if it's just handing it off, running zone reads, and letting Arch Manning use his speed on some of these runs. But they've not been able to execute the simplest, most fundamental parts of this offense here now for 3 straight drives.
Bert Auburn made from 49. This will be from 47. He's 6th all-time in Texas's scoring list in history. And that's off the mark to the right. So it stays at a 10-point margin. And I don't know, Jesse, sometimes you call these college games and then you realize, hey, it's a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds out there.
Sure.
There are waves of emotion and consistency, and all of a sudden you see Texas not looking like Texas.
No, and I think you have to give Mark Stoops a little bit of credit for this as well, making the quarterback change to Cutter Boley, the true freshman, because that seems to have energized and galvanized the offense a little bit. They gave away some opportunities there with Boley in his first couple possessions, but all of a sudden the defense gets the score. They've now missed a field goal, and just his players just seem to be playing with a different energy right now. They just feel a lot more dangerous.
There's no doubt about it. Kentucky gaining some confidence. The true freshman quarterback, Cutter Boley, in. 14.5 minutes to go. And a 10-point deficit against number 3, and he gets this completion to Dane Key.
Finally, his first catch of the game, just running a slant route to the outside. The motion by Maclin stretched the defense, took Jelani McDonald to the flat. That opened up a big hole for Dane Key to make his first catch. The guy that accounts for 37% of the team's receiving yards finally gets his name called.
19-yard reception by Key. Wilcox, and he nearly slithered free, but out past midfield. So Brock Vandagriff started the game for Kentucky. The offense had real struggles. You see just 51 yards. Boley comes right into the game. 93 yards, and had another deep ball wiped out because of a holding.
Yeah, the second play of the game, he hits Barion Brown on a go route down the sideline, and this offense just feels a whole lot different going up and down the field. The problem is once they get down close, they've got to finish, and they haven't been able to do that here in the second half.
2nd and 7. Boley. Downfield strike again, and it's incomplete. He was trying to get it to Gilmore, the true freshman receiver. Malik Muhammad had coverage.
Really nice job in coverage, too, that time by Muhammad. I know we talk a lot about Jahdae Barron on one side. Muhammad's pretty good himself here. There's been a little bit of fighting, but we've seen that throughout the course of the game, and they have not been called defensive pass interference. So that's a good job of the referee staying consistent and not calling that.
Here's a 3rd down and 7. Play clock counting down. 3rd and 7 for Boley. And he delivers. It's a 1st down, Kentucky. Farrier with the reception.
Nice job. We talked about chipping and helping out against this pass rush. That time, Demie Sumo-Karngbaye comes in motion from the receiver spot, lines up at running back. He's going to get a nice chip here, which is going to create the pocket for Boley and buy himself a little bit of time. That is textbook on Alfred Collins. Nice job keeping his eyes downfield, and they convert a huge 3rd down.
Only their 2nd 3rd down conversion of the day.
Whoa.
Ball is on the ground, and Sumo-Karngbaye recovers it.
I don't know if somebody did something to the footballs and made them slick, or if the smoke they're blowing here in Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium is starting to get into people's eyes. Like, just catch the shotgun snap.
Yeah.
Mark Stoops can't believe it. I mean, this isn't a true freshman mistake. That's just, you got to just get that executed. 2 steps, it's like 1 step forward, 2 steps back, right? And that's how it feels for Kentucky's offense here since Boley's been in.
2nd and 20. Boley downfield looking for Brown, and it's denied at the last possible second by Gilbo.
Well, Boley's doing a good job of seeing pressure and getting it out of his hands quickly, and he's allowing his receivers, this time his fastest receiver in Brown, have an opportunity. Nice job by Gilbo there, knocking that away. Here comes another 3rd down. This one 3rd in California. I think if you're Bush Hamden, I think you're thinking screen or draw. Try and put yourself in better position here.
Third and 20. Boley looking to extend the play and find anything downfield. Just overthrows the intended target, Dane Key.
And forget screen or draw. Let's take a shot. Let's move the launch point away from the pressure from Texas. And Boley barely missed that throw to Key down the sideline. He made a really nice throw going to his right in the 3rd quarter, hitting his tight end Rodriguez. This one barely misses. Because of how well his defense is playing right now and all the crazy things that have happened, Mark Stoops going to play the field position game, down 10 points, hoping his defense can get a stop.
See if LaRose can pin that. Missed opportunity for Kentucky's offense. Oh, muffing the ball, but falling right on top of it was Bolden.
Man, I swear, I feel like right now Texas is trying to give this game away.
Incredible, isn't it? Number 3 team in the country, all of a sudden with some second half choppiness and issues like this. More to come from Austin after a short break. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next, it'll be Alabama at Oklahoma. Jalen Milroe looking to take care of business on the road. There's Wisner as he works his way to the 21-yard line.
I think if you're Kentucky right now, you're trying to stay in this thing down 10, you've got to take the inside run away, specifically when they're working to the left-hand side. That's been the side that Texas has been attacking in the run game. They got to start slanting their D-line that way.
Wisner again on 2nd and 3, and that surge is going to have him close to the line to make. Pop Dumas-Johnson with the tackle.
What point, too, if you're Steve Sarkisian, do you start to slow down a little bit?
Yes.
Take up some more clock. I know this is an offense that likes to go tempo, but considering all the craziness and the stuff that has happened, bleed this thing a little bit. Take the play clock down close to 0.
Third down and 1. Wisner will have the first down.
This is an advantage you're seeing in the pistol look that Texas likes to use when you line up the running back behind. The defense can't slant. If the running back was here going this way, the defense could predict that. But in the pistol, it literally can go any which way. And that time, the defense slanted left, like we were talking about, expecting that, and they guessed wrong. And that's the advantage of lining up the running back in the pistol.
Weisner getting a lot of work here now. Really nice move, and look at that, keeping his balance, and then offensive linemen continuing to find work downfield for a big play for Texas.
How about Jake Majors at center this time in the zone scheme, working the double team with his right guard and climbing into the second level and getting a block. This is a four-year starter right here getting it done, knowing exactly what to do. The front dictates who he's going to be blocking. Really, really nice job by the William V. Campbell finalist up front.
Weisner again, and Weisner shaking loose again and running tough. Well-earned yards by Quintravion Weisner.
Sark's attacking the left side in the run game, and he's doing it different ways. It's not just the zone, but they're also pulling guys, but it's always going left. You see the production out of Jaden Blue and Quintravion Weisner. Both doing a really nice job on the ground here. Both averaging over 6.5 yards a carry. That's crazy.
Blue now into the game. And he'll get his chance to add to his total. He's just tripped up. Man, he's got such acceleration.
He really does, and it just makes you hold your breath. And I mean, that's one missed tackle from that being a house call. Offensive line doing a nice job sealing the edge and getting outside, and there's no mystery. I mean, don't be surprised if Texas doesn't even try to throw it again the rest of this game. Leading the clock, running the ball, and this is what we saw them do last week, Joe, against Arkansas. They ran off the last 6 minutes of that game doing exactly this.
So after the 8-yard run, Blue barely gets past the line of scrimmage, and that is 7 straight runs on this drive to this point. That is taking the clock under the 8-minute mark here.
That's the advantage of having an offensive line like this. Mark Stoops now trying to figure out how to stop this. He's got 2 fresh, big bodies coming in, Keyshawn Silver and Deion Walker. It's a lot of weight right in the middle of that defense, anticipating run here to see if they can get a stop.
You know you're a big guy when your jersey looks like that. 3rd and 1. Weisner upended, but going forward with his momentum right over Childress for a first down.
You know, it's an offense that is balanced, and they can really beat you in a lot of ways, Joe. Obviously, they can throw it, and when Quinn Ewers is healthy and when the receivers are healthy, they've got matchup problems all across the board. But it's nice to know in games like this, when you just got to be physical, and you've got to own the line of scrimmage, and you're going to run it. When everyone in the stadium knows it's coming, they still can't stop you.
So committed to the run at this point of the game as Weisner rolls ahead down to the 27-yard line.
And this offensive line is just in a lather right now, and they got to love this too. And they're loving the play calls. They know exactly what's going on right now. They're telling themselves, all right, our head coach and our play caller is putting this on us to ice this game. And we're answering the bell right now. We're pushing around a very big, very talented Kentucky D-line, and they cannot stop us.
So Cutter Boley just watching this Texas offense march down the field. They have over 400 yards of offense to this point. Things have just settled down after some of the sloppy and choppy play we saw in the second half as Weisner takes it for another first down.
And you're seeing running backs now with 2 hands on the football. Sark was telling Katie before the 4th quarter, we just got to hang on to the ball. You know, that was a message that's been delivered to these running backs, everybody. 2 hands on the football, 5 points of pressure. We are not coughing it up anymore.
I mean, look at that clock. Just count down with this drive. Blue, he finds running room, and he's down just short of the 10-yard line. Another first down for Texas.
Texas needs a touchdown, I think, to put this thing away. If you kick a field goal here, it's still a 2-possession game, and Kentucky has life. But if they can run this thing and keep bleeding the clock and punch this thing in the end zone, that should do it for Texas.
I had this conversation with Sark yesterday about how you manage a win, how you learn and know how to win with experience, and your team can do it every which way. This is similar to a drive they had last week on the road at Arkansas that went for 75 yards. As Blue Gets himself down to the 7-yard line.
But I think that speaks to Steve Sarkisian also, and really good play callers that are able to adjust.
Yes.
And obviously you come into the game and you've scripted everything and you've gone through all the scenarios and you want to throw it, you know where your matchups are, but you've got to feel the ebb and flow. You've got to understand, and situationally, when we've got to take a hard left turn, just get to football and you get to big tight ends on the field, being physical, running the ball. And he's digging deep right now. We're seeing a lot of different run schemes from this Texas offense.
Wisner has 151 yards rushing at this point. As he gets it down to the 2-yard line. Blue, by the way, has 96 yards, and Texas overall 249 rushing yards. Meanwhile, Kentucky only has 203 total yards.
That's a veteran run by Wisner here, because he couldn't bounce this outside. Instead, he sees the leverage by the defender and gets north. Right there, he's thinking, I'm going to take my speed outside. No. Just put your foot in the ground, get what you can get. For a true sophomore running back, really nice looking run.
And how exhausting for this defensive front for Kentucky. This is going to be the 14th play as that big offensive line just leans on them and drives them back, run after run. 3rd and goal. Wisner reaching for the end zone, and they're going to mark him just short. It'll be 4th and goal from just a couple inches away.
All right, so what do you do here if you're Steve Sarkisian? I think you go.
Absolutely.
The way your offensive line is playing right here, you can put this game out of reach. Let the play clock run down to 20-0. Maybe you take a timeout, talk it over, but you got to go here no matter what if you're Steve Sarkisian.
Sark had a long conversation with us yesterday about the analytics and this and that and how you get into these 4th down decision-making situations. He said at the end of the day, I go feel. I'm already calling the next play. Then I turn to the analytics guy.
Which I like.
This is how they're reaching out. They're going to take a look at this. Does that football actually break the plane? Remember, all it takes is any amount of leather
across that white stripe. Yep. And where was it in relation to the white line when his knee hit the ground? Call on the field was he was short and it was not a touchdown. So you need,
I think that's close, Jess.
Conclusive video evidence to overturn this. Indisputable.
Watch the knees.
See, I think right there it's crossed.
Yeah, and that's just about the point. Watch the knee. Watch where the tackle's being made by Alex Safari. Watch those back knees. That's very close. Remember, the ruling on the field is that he was short of the goal line. Okay, there we're going to zoom in on the knees. So right there, now we can look at the ball at that point.
The problem is the ball is pointing straight up.
Isn't it? In such an odd way that the ball is, instead of being in the pocket from elbow to hand, it's vertical.
I don't think you have enough to overturn that. Seeing that again. Quinn Ewers is doing it too. He's looking up. He's like, man, the football's going straight up and down.
Yeah. So
it's really, really hard to know.
Jeff Heeser's taking a look here. They ruled it short of the goal line. I mean, it's literally a centimeter short if you are going to spot this ball. Yeah, Ewers is explaining it for everybody.
Yeah. Well, guys, the football's oblong. It's an awkward shape. And when it's pointed up and down.
Quinn Ewers, 2 touchdown passes today, both to Gunnar Helm. But the big story with Ewers is what happened in the 2nd quarter when he was tackled running the ball, and he's been favoring his right leg. And Jesse, greatly affected.
Yes.
Greatly affected since that.
Yeah, they've had 0 in the passing attack.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. It'll be 4th down.
Well, this is going to set up the play of the game here for Kentucky's defense. I think if you're Steve Sarkisian, you got to go. And you've got to put this on your offensive line one more time to put this game away. You see big Josiah Hayes there, 325 pounds. Deion Walker, 350. He's out there. Keyshawn Silver, 340 pounds. The biggest guys on Kentucky's defense are on the field right now.
And Jesse, we were just talking about the attrition, the long 14-play drive, run after run after run after run. Now all of a sudden, because of the review, the Kentucky defense just got a breather.
Jarrett Gibson, who's normally been the go-to guy on 4th and short, lining up at fullback here. He's a guy that love to give the dive to in these situations.
Wisner is set deep. That's who gets the ball, and that's who gets the touchdown. 4th down, and Wisner scores. And that is the longest drive of the season for Texas.
Really nice surge by Cameron Williams at right tackle, collapsing the line of scrimmage. Wisner able to get the ball across the plane for the score. What a drive, a physical drive. No nonsense, old school, run the ball. Matthew McConaughey and team love it.
Auburn with the extra point. A 15-play drive that went 86 yards and took up 8 minutes and 22 seconds. The 4th down, 1-yard touchdown run, 31-14. Very happy Matthew McConaughey, who, by the way, Jesse, his dad, Jim, played football at Kentucky.
Wow.
When Bear Bryant was there for 2 years. He was on the freshman team, then the varsity team. Then he ends up transferring to Houston and played there for a couple years. But he started his college football career, Jim McConaughey did, at Kentucky.
No question where this man's allegiance lies. His loyalty always to Texas.
By the way, you got to go on social media and see his tuna salad recipe that he busted out this week.
Yeah.
Some of the best content you'll see all week.
What was your favorite part of the ingredient?
Oh, jalapeno chips. And then we had a great debate over the fact he puts corn in it. Not a fan of the corn. Barion Brown on the return. And he just gets out to the 17-yard line. Texas looking to close it out here. Matthew all smiles, 31-14. College football playoff rankings are brought to you by Goodyear.
Yeah, lots of stuff's going to change here. Indiana's going to fall. Ole Miss certainly is going to fall as well. And I'm interested to see what the committee decides to do with 2-loss SEC teams like Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee if they drop Indiana behind them. The committee all season long has rewarded teams for quote-unquote good losses, but a convincing loss today at Ohio State against the strength of schedule that those 2-loss SEC teams have played. Curious to see how that looks.
There's the assumption that all conferences are equal. They're not. This one is different, very different, yet it's not showing up when you look at those playoff rankings. And I'll give you the perfect example. In the SEC, the middle, and even the middle to bottom, are still wars. There's still really good teams that you got to fight through every week. Today, Florida.
Well, this is one of them right here.
Yeah, Kentucky beat Ole Miss.
Florida beat Ole Miss. Georgia and Florida these last 2 weeks. Arkansas beating Tennessee.
Those teams don't exist in the Big Ten. Once you get past that top tier, the middle and bottom of the Big Ten is not threatening at all. So the SEC is being punished for its excellence from top to bottom with the committee. Sumo-Karngbaye with a 9-yard reception. First down, Boley, true freshman, being chased by Simmons, the other true freshman who, Jesse, I'm telling you, in the coming years, we are going to be saying his name every single weekend.
No doubt about it. The number 2 ranked defensive end coming out of high school this past year, and he's just got things you cannot coach. He plays extremely quickly. He's explosive. In his last several weeks, he's taken his game to another level. It's like he's figuring it out. The game's starting to slow down as we're getting close here. The 2-minute timeout.
Second down and 10. Pressure on Boley, and that ball just falls to the ground. He had to jump up just to get it over the incoming pressure for Brown.
It was your guy Simmons that time, bringing the pressure off the right-hand side. They've been chipping and helping out their right tackle, Malachi Wood. They didn't that time, and Simmons got home. And all of a sudden, this game right now is starting to feel a lot faster for Cutter Boley at quarterback.
Third down and 10. Boley backing up again, looking to extend the play, and coming back for the ball and getting it was key.
He's been impressive, I think, tonight, throwing the ball on the run, especially to his left. We've seen a couple accurate throws, another nice one there.
And with that, we reach the 2-minute timeout. Texas in control here at home. Texas and Texas A&M to determine so much in the SEC. 4th and 2, and the movement is going to back them up. And it's a head shaker for Coach Stoops.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Well, we've talked about the penalty issues this offensive line has had all season long, and Eli Cox, a captain, a guy that's played a lot of games. It's a head scratcher if you're Mark Stoops.
So now a 4th and 7 coming off of the 2-minute timeout. That's the other thing. You get a pre-snap penalty off of a timeout. Trailing by 17, Boley, the true freshman who came in the game to start this second half, as he gets it complete for a first down to Maclin.
I tell you, Boley is making a nice audition for himself to be the guy heading into next year. And obviously there's a big game next, the Governor's Cup against Louisville. Katie, Joe, you and I were part of that last year. That's a great rivalry.
Great energy.
And we'll see whether or not Boley's going to get the nod to start that one. But I think he's done a lot of really good things here in the second half against, again, maybe the best defense in all of college football.
So Vandagriff looking on. Here's Boley now on first down. He's backing up and running out of options. Ball was tipped there as he just tried to throw it away. The flag is down back at the 24-yard line.
He hit his head really hard. He got knocked backwards that time, and his head slammed against the turf. Kind of gets hit in the head there by Simmons.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 11. 15-yard penalty. First down.
See, it's weird to me that earlier in the game, Michael Taft came on a safety blitz and hit him in the face with his helmet. Didn't call that. But that one against Simmons, they do with his hands. Again, you're just looking for consistency throughout the course of the game.
Simmons leads the team in sacks with their highest ranked recruit, the consensus 5-star, who has turned into a dynamic piece, especially situationally, for Pete Kwiatkowski's defense. So a first down after the penalty. And wide open and complete to Willie Rodriguez. True freshman to true freshman.
In a small window, an anticipated throw in zone coverage. He's got to put this between 3 defenders. This is tough. Right on time. And that is a dart between two true freshmen, as you mentioned, Joe. And this 2-minute situation is a big teaching moment for this quarterback.
Boley, Simmons, strip sack, but it's recovered by Kentucky. That was Malachi Wood, the right tackle, who's in for Gerald Mincy with the fumble recovery.
Yeah, right now, Bush Andon has stopped chipping on the edge to help out the quarterback, and you're starting to see the result of that. Just way too much speed from Colin Simmons off the edge.
And with the timeout, we get a chance to check in with Holly Rowe on the field for warm-ups in Oklahoma. Holly.
Here in Oklahoma, the biggest key is getting Jalen Milroe on the ground. He has been unleashed in the last 3 weeks, really using his legs, averaging 9.6 yards per carry. Jesse, Brent Venables told us they have got to set the edge. He doesn't always run between the tackles, but if he gets on the edge, he's unstoppable. Look for them to do that tonight in Norman.
All right, size it up for us, Jeff.
Yeah, no, it's a great point by Holly, and I think, you know, it's easier said than done. It sounds great to say, let's set the edge against Jalen Milroe. Let's draw it up on the blackboard and keep him inside the tackle box, but he's got so much speed, and we've seen time and time again his ability to get outside, break that contain, and make a play. Oklahoma defensively are Mason Thomas. They've got some athletes up front that might be able to neutralize some of that speed for Jalen Milroe. That's why I'm really excited to watch this game.
Yeah, they are good in space on defense. They can run, but it is such a challenge, obviously, against Alabama and some of the issues that Oklahoma's had on offense. But that is coming up next as Kentucky off of the timeout. Minute 4 remaining. Cutter Boley getting significant experience here at Texas, and he's driven back and sacked again. Trey Moore with another sack.
And watch the speed to power rush. He literally pushes a 6'8", 320-pound right tackle Malachi Wood right into the quarterback. He starts like he's going upfield and then drives forward. Man, absolutely nothing you can do. That is just textbook by last year's AAC Player of the Year at UTSA, Trey Moore.
Another timeout is used by Kentucky. Boy, next week's going to be really interesting with this Texas defense playing the way they are down there at College Station. And that atmosphere is going to be incredible.
And that is my big question, I think, now looking ahead to that, is the health of Quinn Ewers. Is he going to be mobile at all? Because Texas A&M, Joe, does have a pass rush, as we know, with Nick Scorton, Shamar Turner, some of those creatures they've got on that defensive line up there. Also, the third down packages that Mike Elko shows you, all the exotic looks and the pressures, and you're dealing with the crowd noise at Kyle Field. We've seen this Texas offensive line play phenomenally well here tonight. They're going to have to take it up another level, and I think a big question is going to be the health of Quinn Ewers heading into that one.
Well, after the sack, it's 3rd and 32. Boley's going to launch it. And that is intercepted. Makuba with the interception that'll close the day here in Austin.
Makuba has phenomenal range, and he's already playing on that half of the field. But we've talked about his ball skills. This is a great job high pointing it. Boley's trying to hit a go route down the right sideline, and Makuba's able to just go over and track it. Phenomenal job.
To celebrate with Bevo.
It's the 6th straight game now that this defense has had multiple turnovers. That's Makuba up top, and he's able to just play this in the air, high point it over top of his own corner that time, Gavin Holmes. This defense for Pete Kwiatkowski, time and time again this season, has answered the bell. They do it here once again.
And Quinn Ewers in victory formation will take the knee. Going to be a lot of folks asking this week, how does he feel? How's the right leg? The buildup and anticipation for this showdown at Kyle Field. This thing got a little sloppy and choppy in the second half. But, Jesse, it was that 15-play drive, all the runs, and all of them between the tackles that really showed what Texas is all about.
Being physical. This is an offense, again, that can win in a variety of ways. They dominated the line of scrimmage when they had to most. And, Joe, that drive you're referencing took 8 minutes and 22 seconds off the clock. Again, this offensive line is going to have to step up big next week in College Station.
Leisner had 158 rushing yards. Texas wins at 31-14. Alabama, Oklahoma's coming up next on ABC. For Katie and Jesse, I'm Joe Tessitore. Enjoy the rest of your night, including this time spent with our college football scoreboard studio. Take it away, Kevin.